to get a chance to listen or maybe call to a real fraudster. You can actually talk to the real phone fraudster, and there is IT challenges, IT quest, and you can get great merch. Everybody loves this. If you still do not think that reverse engineers exist, and actually you should believe that we have movies about them. Next presentation is about this. Pavel Ivannikov from Positive Labs at Positive Technologies, the profession of reverse engineer. What exactly is reverse engineering and why do we need this? Let's give a round of applause to Pavel and continue with the presentation. So once again, my name is Pavel Ivannikov. I've been doing reverse engineering for about 10 years. I work at Positive Labs, and we invite you to our stand. If you can get there, it's a very interesting exhibition, the latest news from the hacker world, so to say. And today we'll work about reverse engineers. What kind of profession is this? What do they do? And finally, how is it different? Maybe someone should pick this profession, and what exactly happens in the office. So, a few words about myself. I was curious about hardware and software, what's inside, how do engineers solve problems, why wheels are round and why wheels go and do like this, why do satellites fly in space, and so on. So I had different interesting questions, and I was able to get into this world of IT, and it is actually quite complex. Some people invent new things, some people hack and try to destroy new things and try to analyze it. So as a result, I was curious about reverse engineering, what kind of goals it has and how is it different from development. So let us use Russian language. Development. What exactly is development stage? When you have a certain product, maybe project at the end, so you program a software, maybe you have some real changes, physical changes as a result of the implementation of this product or project. And then you have a reverse side of this medal. Sometimes you want to see what happens inside of this product, what happens inside of this device. Why do they give and return these specific errors? And that's where you need reverse engineers, where we want to track. So somebody starts to invent somebody starts to invent something, and then somebody else starts looking at this activity. So suppose we have a car, and you want to change it. You don't like a new e-car, and you want to create your own electric vehicle. Where do you start? Probably you will get an existing car, you will try to disassemble it and recreate it, and you will face a lot of problems. For example, a normal car. Is it difficult? Well, you have the main body, you have a few devices, you have a few wheels, and that's all. And then you want to go and actually to get into gears. And the gearbox is actually very complex. And you go deeper and deeper, and it's very hard. So, and you get to the small pieces, to small elements, just a simple cog. But what kind of cog do you use? What kind of metal do you use? What kind of properties do they have? And then you also need to pay attention to the size. And then you have even more and more details. And then you have to ask yourself, how do they create this particular detail? Was it reinforced, the metal? How was it treated?
углубляться практически до бесконечности.
And we can go deeper and deeper, basically ad infinitum.
Вещей в реальном мире, да, там,
If
шестеренки, ну, понятно, что
there are some things in real world, like the cogs, and we don't know how it works,
мир IT, он придуман человеком, и все должно быть.
it should be simple, because it's not something philosophical, it's very objective. And people would think that IT world is very deterministic, but unfortunately it's not. There are many moving parts, and it's not always clear why and how it works. So here is an example.
Использует свой любимый язык программирования, открывает свою любимую IDE,
You open your favorite IDE,
просит чат GPT написать какие-то функции интересные.
you write the code, ask ChatGPT to improve the code, compile it, and as a result you get,
Какой-то бинарь.
almost always you get some kind of binary code.
Будем называть просто программой, не будем углубляться.
It's a simple program, doesn't really matter what kind of program. It's simple, it's clear. Next, we create a device. So we need software, but we also need hardware. How do we create this?
Мы знаем, как работают
Well, we
транзисторы, как отдельные микросхемы,
paint
как заряжать.
some schemes, we know how
Мы поместим на схемы, отдадим на завод.
those elements work. We will create the scheme, we will get it to the factory will procure all the necessary motherboards and all the necessary elements.
На экране
They will do this and they will deliver it.
оно
Here is one of the devices developed in the lab,
устройство это наш вот бейдж.
and this device is our badge.
Приглашаем за него побороться или купить.
So once again, if you can get to
Буквально там
our stand, you can actually use this badge
да?
and get there.
Проделал свой путь от задумки до изготовления.
It seems simple, but it actually went through a very complex way. It took several months for this simple badge to appear.
Вы хотите его повторить. Да, вот.
And now imagine that you want to recreate it. So what do you do?
В этом доступе вы можете просто посмотреть.
We've uploaded our code on GitHub, but suppose it was a commercially useful, commercially viable product, then you will not have access to the code.
Софт,
Reverse engineers look at the software. You would
гидры используют.
open some kind of disassembler or decompiler, maybe you would use Hyder, maybe something else. You take a look at it and you try to
В единую
put together different elements in a single
нюансов, да,
picture.
что там
Usually you try to not to pay attention to
картина.
unnecessary elements. You just want to have a bigger picture. If it's a badge, I want to understand how it works with the
Что нам в этом
lamps,
помогает?
with LEDs.
Написано, почему реверс инжиниринг это просто, но это такая. Конечно, это же преувеличение. Это не-
Obviously, on the slide we have
просто
why reverse engineering is a simple work, and obviously this is irony.
вы знаете,
When you analyze software,
уже достаточно
you know quite a lot about the device,
скорее
so that it's not just a black box.
котором ваш
Usually you know the architecture,
операционную систему, есть ли
you know the operating system, if it actually has the operating system or not,
иногда разработчики
and many other
информацию, это такая
details. Sometimes developers even leave this information that allows you to take a look at the source code.
но все подписи остались. Что, например, вот функция, которая включает
For example, here's the function that works with LEDs, and here's the function that's responsible for power, and
А вот теперь мы переходим к
it's so clear and so simple.
лаборатории.
And now this is what we do in the lab,
Тяжелее, чем
and why our lives are a little bit more complex, and why we can say that
вы получаете на руки устройство.
that's not that easy. So you get the device. What do you know about this device?
Установлено.
Usually, what kind of components they have,
Потому что
and this is the best case scenario, because sometimes you do not really know about the developers. Sometimes all the markings are removed and you have no idea what's exactly inside there.
задачи.
And you have specific tasks.
Первое, надо получить прошивку. То, чтобы
First, you need to get the firmware.
реверс-инженеру, либо самому посмотреть.
So you either give it to the software engineer or you do it yourself. You get the firmware,
Вам сразу непонятно,
but you have
что же это была.
the chip block there, and you don't really know about the architecture.
Что если я скажу, что
There are quite a lot of different architectures,
я не совру.
hundreds, maybe even thousands of different CPU architectures. Then you don't really know about the operating system.
Подобное.
These could be Unix, Linux,
Может быть, и
Microsoft Windows,
просто написал на
macOS, or it can be a custom operating system something unique, and you will not find it online. And you can, this list goes on and on.
Это невозможно. И мы действуем,
And you don't really know, you cannot know everything about the device.
когда пытаемся
When you want to
ровно настолько,
paint the picture so that it's exactly enough to answer the question you have. So for reverse engineering, it's more important to have the correct question. Why do we need reverse engineering in this problem? And answers can be different.
да, когда-то была PHDS. Сейчас это такой общий киберфестиваль. Ну вот начнем. Это был поиск уязвимостей.
Basically, now we have this PhD festival, and we want to hack a device, for example.
Или что-то подобное. Вирусные аналитики занимаются
or
анализом.
to sell it or something like that.
Оставляют.
Virus analysts analyze how viruses operate, and sometimes we analyze compatibility. There was an interesting case when several years ago in the US,
И
the
программисты
post service was down because their soft was written using languages that was used back in the 60s, and of course they couldn't find the developers. That brought up a long downtime for the system,
нужно очень
that,
четко определять перед собой задачу.
but they couldn't solve the task very fast. So you need to understand what
Нужно, чтобы
you want to research. So what do you need to do to become a reverse engineering? You need to practice it.
аналитический склад
And what do you need to,
задавать вопросы,
in order to become a hardware reverse engineer?
в решениях разработки.
You need to, again, practice it. You need to
Говорит один мой коллега.
be diligent. You need to be hungry for new knowledge, work a lot.
Потому что исследования обычно длятся...
You need to be prone to analysis. And,
Есть люди, которые...
well, yes, you need to be very diligent because research work sometimes need years. You need to
У вас всегда появляются какие-то...
strive for new knowledge because getting in deep into
зане-
a certain task or a problem, you will need new knowledge.
Хотелось починить одно устройство.
I started with fixing devices like printers, and I came to reverse engineering because I wanted to fix one printer, and I was about to buy a certain
Задач. Но это
device in order to get the precision I needed, but now I'm able to build them myself.
потому что тогда вы сможете
Then you need to work a lot.
переживать за то, что тратите свою жизнь.
It's great if your work becomes your hobby as well. In this case, you only spend time on something you really like, and you'll be able to do this thing at work, at home, all the time. You will be really inspired by that. And then, of course, you need luck,
Нужные ему функции.
because there are reverse engineers who are lucky, and there are people like me who climbed their entry point by blind guess.
А вы
And some people,
внизу мелким шрифтом написано чип 1, но произведен он там на 3 недели позже.
they discover
Это выяснить.
that the thing that
Я вам кратко
they buy
о том, чем мы
is not exactly what they needed. That's in the previous version of it. Well, I hope that was interesting for you. We have a Q&A stand behind the stage. I'm ready to take your questions there.
Экскурс провести.
Maybe I'll be able to provide you some additional information about our profession. And I wish you a very productive festival. And once again, please come to us. Pavel Ivanikov, head of Sigma Positive Technologies, PosiLabs. PosiLabs is your lab, right? The lab that is in that area, right? Jan Khachidorov already talked about that area. And yes, maybe you are not the luckiest reverse engineer, but you are able to break through ice
Спасибо большое.
of any thickness because you are a great speaker. Thank you so much, Pavel.